All right. I hope you are doing absolutely amazing. I frequently get questions on my channel for my resume, right? How do you make your resume? What's included in your resume? How do I create a resume if I'm a new agent and I have no experience? And all of this can be accomplished, and we're going to dive into it today. My name is Shane. I'm a real estate agent in North Carolina. I've also been coaching agents for several years now on how to operate at a high level. One of the key factors in operating at a high level is being sure that we are different, that we sound different, we are saying different things, we are bringing a fresh breath to our clients, right? And like ultimately, when it comes right down to it, if everybody sounds the same, what's the difference going to be? How much your commission is, how much, whatever, right? If you're working with buyers, then it's really going to come down to experience level, and whether they like you or not. But if we sound different, if we don't sound like every other one, then there's other things that are separating us from the herd, and you want to be a fresh voice. One of the ways that I do that is by sending out my resume versus sending out my business card or handing out my business card. So one thing that it does, right, by offering to send my resume over, is it virtually guarantees that I'm going to get an email address and I'm going to be able to add those people to my database. It's important growing your database, right? If you're a brand new agent, and a lot of people that watch my channel are the hyper successful, killers out here that are crushing the real estate industry, they're not looking at how-to videos. So the audience that I'm speaking to, chances are you may be a newer agent, an agent trying to kind of get your footing in the industry. And this is a great video for you because this is going to break down exactly what my resume looks like, right? The reasons I have each section in there and how you, as a new agent with zero experience, can plug yourself into a resume just like mine and move on with it. So job number one is going to be to create your resume. Now, we all come from a background. We didn't just spring forth from the ground and decide to be real estate agents with no history. So it doesn't matter if you're a brand new agent or not. When I was a brand new agent, I leaned on my past experiences. I was a home builder and a remodeler, a home remodeler for 20 years. Built a whole bunch of homes, did a lot of remodel jobs, had a lot of clients. There's very little about the home construction process that I don't know. So I felt pretty confident I could bring that knowledge into this industry and crush it. I was also in law enforcement. I was a sergeant of a narcotics unit. I was on a FBI drug task force. I was a narcotics detective. Tried to operate at a very high level in that as well. Took interview and interrogation classes. Did great with de-escalation, right? All the different things that police work brings into play. Well, that has a direct link to what I'm doing now, right? Because I'm negotiating out contracts. Well, guess what? My interview and interrogation skills comes into play on my negotiation tactics now, right? My ability to de-escalate. Well, how often do you get calls if you're an agent, with a client that is spazzing out over, whatever, over a bad inspection they just got, over mud on the carpet from the last showing, right? Getting really good at de-escalating situations and finding resolutions to them is a huge benefit here. If you, let's say you come from a retail background, right? That applies directly to what we're doing here, right? Because you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with management, you're dealing with suppliers, you are a master communicator, right? You've been in the sales industry for the last 5 years. Right? You've been helping clients buy and sell what they need, or buy what they need, or whatever it is that you've done in the past. You can make a link to what you're doing now, right, in real estate. So don't stress over the resume, and also don't worry about, this isn't a resume like you're going to take with you to JCPenney's for a job interview. This isn't a resume like you would take with you to wherever it is, whatever kind of job that you're looking to get. This isn't the same type of thing where you're saying, well, yeah, I've got 5 years of sales experience, and I worked at McDonald's, and I worked here, and I worked there, and I worked wherever. There's going to be some of those elements in it, but my real estate resume really is the beginning of me applying for this job. It's giving them some details on my background. It's giving them some details on what I do. It's going into how I sell houses, what I do to get the houses sold, the roadmap to getting a house sold. All of these details are in my resume. And if you stop and think about it, what are other agents doing? They reach out, they talk to someone, they hand them a business card, right? They electronically, they text them over a business card. Well, what happens in those cases, right? That's a one-time interaction that is very mundane, right? If I hand somebody a business card, I fully expect 5 minutes after I hand it to them for them to drop it in a trash can somewhere. Fully expect that. But if instead of handing them a business card, I say, hey, what's a good email address for you? I'm going to send you over my resume so you can get familiar with me there. Right? They give me their email address. That email address goes into my database. I email them over my 6-page resume. Now, maybe they look at that resume, maybe they don't. However, I've captured them. They are in my database now, which means they're going to start getting my weekly market updates. They're going to be able to see what's going on in their market, in their neighborhood, in the city, in the area where they live. They're going to be able to see the properties that just sold, the properties that just came on the market. They're going to get to see all of this data. And whether they open it or don't open it initially, it doesn't matter. If they don't open it, that's okay. They still saw it in their inbox. It still made a micro commitment in their brain, right? The fact they saw it in the inbox, they're like, oh, that's that real estate agent, the one I met at Walmart the other night, right? It's a micro commitment. When they do start opening the email, let's say it's 6 months, a year later, well, now they're ready to do something. They're like, oh, well, let me open up this thing this real estate agent's been sending me, and let me see what's going on in here. Let me see what's happening with the new listings, what's just sold in my neighborhood. Let me see what's happening. And then they become your client. But they become your client because they've been getting these emails every week from you with the market updates. They've had a chance to review your resume to get a little bit more familiar with you. So job number one is to create your resume and to get a weekly market update put together. Today, we're going to go into the resume. So like I said, no experience is fine. This is something else I want you guys thinking about. When you're in there for that listing appointment and they say, how many listings do you have? I've got 0. And that's a great thing for you. That's a great thing for you because I'll be able to spend 100% of my time working on your listing, on getting it sold in the fastest amount of time for the most money. That's the benefit. If you're interviewing 3 or 4 different agents and those other agents are busy, they have 10 listings, 15, 20, 50 listings, whatever the case may be, all that means is that you're going to be on a totem pole of importance with that agent. And you might be close to the top of that totem pole. You might be close to the bottom of that totem pole, right in the middle, wherever it is. You are not getting 100% of that agent's time and energy. Me, I don't have any listings right now, right? I am a fairly new agent, but I'm not new to life. And I am going to make my mark on this industry. And the first step in the journey of making my mark in this industry is creating a relationship with you that's going to go on for the next 20 years, where I'm not just your agent on this deal. I'm your agent for every deal that you do, which means I have to blow your socks off with what I do on getting your property sold. That's my motivation. Now, if you think about that, right, that is a strong selling point. I got my first listing that way. My very first listing was waterfront listing, $635,000. I went in for my interview. There were 2 other brokerages that were interviewing for it as well. It was an individual agent and a team, and they gave it to the team. They called me up the day after my interview. I hit them with that whole spiel. They called me the day after the interview and said, hey, we really like you. We like your motivation. We like everything you said. But that team that interviewed, they've got 8 agents, and all 8 of them are going to be working to get my house sold. And I said, hey, I totally understand. You guys let me know if you ever need anything down the road. Maybe I'll help you on the next one. And they said, all right, great. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch. 3 weeks later, I got a call from the wife, and she said, hey, we're not happy with the performance, with the job that's being done by this team. What do we need to do to hire you as our agent? And I said, well, before you and I can have a conversation about being your agent, right, in this fashion, you have to end your relationship with the team. So you have to call them and tell them that you want a termination for the listing, and then them terminate it, and then call me back, and we'll sit down and we'll go over the paperwork, what I plan to do to get your property sold, and we'll get this thing done. And she said, okay, great. Called me the next day. Listing had been canceled. They were ready to sign with me. So while it felt like day of or the day after the appointment, it felt like it was a failure, right? And I was disappointed because I really wanted to pick this listing up as my first listing. While that was a thing, right, I kept a positive outlook on it, understood the position that they were in. You got 2 individual agents saying, we'll work really hard to get your property sold. And then you had an agent coming in, part of a team, said, hey, I got 8 agents ready to go to work right now. 8 of them. All of them are going to work on getting your property sold. And I get why that seemed like the better play. 3 weeks into it, it wasn't the better play. They realized that there wasn't 8 agents selling their property. It was on the MLS, and whoever saw the property on the internet and set up a showing was getting showings, and they weren't pleased with the performance. So I got in there, got the listing, got the property sold. But now I digress a little bit. Resume. Let's pull this thing up so you guys can see what we have going on here. All right, here we go. Now, you guys can create some. I created this on Canva. You can do the exact same thing. I'm not going to go into how I created it on Canva because it's pretty basic. I picked a black background, right? I pulled images that I wanted, and I dumped those images over on here, added images of myself and my wife on here, added in logos, little signature line, all of this stuff you guys can do right on Canva. If you don't have a account with Canva, you can get I think it's a 7-day trial period, and you can create your resume, save it as a PDF, and end the trial. You don't have to keep it going forever. You can open it up long enough to create what you need to create and then get rid of it. But all of this was created right on Canva. It took me an afternoon to go through and get it all just like I wanted it. Now I have it to hand out whenever I want. But let's go down the list. So this is page 1. Your home sold for the highest price, no exceptions. Now there is nothing on here that a brand new agent cannot do just like I did. Nothing on there. Page number 2 goes into a little bit of, I say my stats, but they're very generalized stats. I sell 98% of the homes that I list. That's a real number. I go back through, pull all the properties up that I've listed, all of the ones that have sold versus the ones that didn't. 98% is a solid number here. I specialize in hard to sell properties like expireds and for sale by owner. Even if you are a brand new agent, if you are going to focus on expired, canceled, and for sale by owner, which I recommend you do, right? If you were going to do that, I would put it right on here. I specialize in hard to sell properties like expireds and for sale by owner, right? Be confident in your abilities. And this is not, even if you're a brand new agent, this is not something that you can't say because you are looking to specialize. You are making the phone calls, calling the expireds, calling the cancels, calling the for sale by owners. This is your niche. And so be confident in saying, I'll work with the hardest to sell properties out there, the ones that are already stigmatized, the ones that the other agent wasn't able to give their client a big win. Go ahead and make that assertion on here My average time to get a property under contract is 18 days. That's a real number. I go back through and check it every once in a while, and if I need to make a tweak or adjustment, I do. My average list price to sold price ratio is 108%. Now, in the last year, that's been coming down. It was 114%. And then coming down because as the interest rates went up, things weren't selling for over ask like they were before. So that number is consistently, trending downwards until we flip in the market and it goes the other way. Now, down here, proven success record, right? I can say that because I've sold houses. I have a proven success record. If you haven't sold a house yet, not one, if you have 0 sales, leave that out of there until you have 1 sale. Then you have a proven success record. I've got 20 plus years experience. Now, as of today, I have 5 years experience in real estate, but I was a home builder for 20 years. Right? So I have been in the home industry, the home fixing and selling industry for 25 years at this point. So I'm confident in saying I have 20 plus years experience in the market, in the industry. I'm progress focused. I am progress focused. I'm looking to make progress every single day. I'm a communication specialist. I am a communication specialist. I communicate with people every day. Right now, I have the extra added benefit of kind of going into, the fact that I was in law enforcement, the fact that I had all of this experience with interview and interrogation and de-escalation and all that stuff. But if you've been, say you were a sales rep at, we use JCPenney's again, right? You communicate with people on the sales floor all day long. You communicate with management all day long. You are a master communicator. Here, I'm a husband, father, and former first responder. Right? You're a wife, mother, and a former sales associate, or you're a wife, mother, and formerly in the any industry that you can say. Right? I'm a customer service expert. I am. I'm providing customer service every day to my customers. So all of this you can put in your resume, right? Tweak it. Tweak the pieces that you don't have numbers for yet. My average list price to sold price ratio is 108%. If you haven't sold anything yet, leave that off of there, right? Put in what you can, add to this as you go. But this is not a deal breaker. Okay, page number 3 and page number 4. Right? Page number 3 is a bit about my history. And I go pretty deep into it. Out of high school, got a job as a framer on a framing crew, then did interior trim, then did siding, then did decks, then got my own business license and started doing it on my own as a subcontractor, then eventually graduated to building houses, right? I go into my police experience, right? In 2008, I became a cop, started on patrol, became a detective, ended up becoming the sergeant of the narcotics unit, that I was a detective on. All of those things. Just go through and talk about yourself. Talk about your past. Give them a chance to get to know you a little bit. That's what this is about, right? People choose their real estate agent because they like somebody, because they trust somebody. So give them a reason to like you and trust you, right? Give them some of your background. Don't be afraid to share, right? Now, page number 4, my commitments to you. All of this you can do as a brand new agent. All of this is fairly generic. It is, however, true. I will always provide you with expert advice and consulting so that you're able to make the best decision for yourself and your family. I will, right? I will always be 100% forthcoming about the price of your home, its condition, and what it will take to get it sold. Let me explain something to you. I am not a sugarcoater, or I don't run and hide from giving bad news. Because those two things, being a sugarcoater and holding back information that might help the property get sold, is going to do exactly that if you sugarcoat and don't tell them what the real deal is. So I am a no sugarcoat kind of communicator, right? And it's important to get your house sold in the fastest amount of time for the most money. We need to be straight up with them about what we're seeing, what the industry looks like, the whole 9 yards. I will always give you the truth regardless of the situation, right? I will always do what is right for your best interest. I will fight to ensure that you get the most for your home in the right amount of time. I will always use the most effective strategies. All of this stuff you guys can put right on your resume as a brand new agent. And this just gives somebody you're basically saying all these things to them without it coming out of your mouth. They're just seeing it in your resume, and they're like, okay, I will practically spend every day aggressively searching for qualified buyers for your home, right? All of these details. Nothing wrong with any of this. All right. Page 5 and 6. Marketing plan. This can go on your resume just like it's on my resume. I don't care if you're brand new in the industry or if you've got 10 years experience. This can go in there. Marketing plan. Complete the listing paperwork and disclosures. Install lockbox with keys. Install yard sign. Professional photos and drone photos. Create the MLS listing. Think about it. This is just the roadmap, giving them an idea what to expect at each stage of this listing, all the way down to the closing table. This just gives them the comfort of knowing, I know the steps, these are the steps, I'm going to keep you up to date on the steps as they're occurring. We're going to get this thing to a closing table seamlessly. Photography. Now, these are my photos. You can add in your photos. You can add in stock photos. You can do something here photography-wise to get your point across. For me, I gave them real-world examples. This was a listing photo on a property that didn't sell, sat on the market for 8 months and did not sell, had terrible photos in addition to this primary photo. I went in, got professional photos, took my drone, got it up, got this 3/4 angle on the front where you could actually see the whole house and you had an idea what you were looking at, right? And got the house under contract in 3 weeks. This one above here, the top set of photos, this was a FSBO and their photography on the left, right? And you can see it's washed out and dim and grainy looking. It almost looks dirty. And this is the same angle that I took, and you can see the difference in the vibrant colors and the editing. And that FSBO had sat on the market for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months and didn't sell. And they asked me to get it sold for them, and I got it under contract in 3 days, right? Now, photos have been proven, professional photographs have been proven to cause homes to sell 32% faster. That's a study that I pulled right off of NAR. You can do the exact same thing. There's no reason as a brand new agent you can't have the same data in your resume. All you have to do is sit down and put it together. It's not hard to do. You just have to take the time to say, I'm going to make myself different from every other agent out here in my market. There's not another agent in my market that's sending resumes over. Not one. So I am different in that respect in my market. Maybe your market's different. Maybe you have a few agents that are doing this. I guarantee the ones that are doing this are having success. All right, let's go to the last 2 pages. All right, last 2 pages. And again, this is something you guys can do. There's no reason you can't do this, just like I can do this, right? My no-risk listing program. Now, I have an easy exit agreement. And what that means is you as the seller, so as if I'm talking to for sale by owner, expired, whatever, right? We're at the listing appointment and we're going over this. And I'll say, I have an easy exit agreement. You have the ability to get out of our arrangement at any point. If you are not happy with what's going on, if you just want to go a different direction, whatever the case may be, you have that ability at will to get out of it. And I take it a step further. With all of my listing agreements, I send over a termination page that's filled out and ready to go. That termination page, if you were the seller, if you were to call me 6 months into our listing and say, hey, look, really not happy with this, we're going to go ahead and rent it. Can you go ahead and terminate it for me? I would create this termination page. I would send it over to you for electronic signature. You'd sign it. It'd come back to me. I would pull the listing out. What I do that's different from every other agent that I know is with my listing agreement, I give you a termination page. It's already filled out. It's got the address. It's got all the details on it that it needs, and I've already signed it. My signature is already on it. You have it in your possession. If you were ever unsatisfied at any point with what's going on and you just want to go a different direction, you don't even have to go to the trouble to call me and have an uncomfortable conversation. All you have to do is sign the bottom of that page, scan it to me, text it to me, anything. Get it to me, so hell, mail it to me. I don't care how it gets to me. When it arrives in my hand, when it gets to me, I'm going to pull it out of the MLS immediately. I'm going to come over to your house. I'm going to grab the sign and lockbox, and we're going to shake hands and part as friends. Because to me, it's not about doing this deal. It's about getting every deal, earning your business for life. And so this is business. If you decide to go a different direction in business, it's not personal. It's not going to hurt my feelings. We're going to shake hands and part as friends, and we're going to do business again down the road at some point. And people really appreciate that. It's kind of like when you go to buy a mattress and they say, hey, sleep on it for a year. If you don't like it, bring it back for a full refund. Right? Most agents, what they want to do is they want people to think that once you sign that contract, you are locked into them for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever the length of the contract is. They don't want to breathe a word about the process for terminating and all of that, because they don't want you to have that in your head that it's a possibility. When you put that right out on Front Street, hey, look, if you're ever dissatisfied, you can get out of this contract at will. It just gives them that extra layer of comfort that, only somebody that is ultra confident in their abilities is going to come forward with a statement like that. Then I've got my Smart Seller program. That, quite simply, is just a flexible commission structure. Now, it has changed a little bit since my creation of this. I still send this over, but I have the conversation a little bit different with them when I talk about commission. So what I say is, my commission is 2.5%. With recent changes in the law and everything else, we discuss the buyer agent commission separately from my commission. So I charge 2.5% on my side. I recommend that we give 2.5% on the buyer side. Reason I do that is because we want all of the agents in our area highly motivated to bring us a buyer. Now, that buyer agent commission is totally your choice. It's not a requirement. You don't have to offer them 2.5%. Just having more people invested in getting your property sold is always a good thing. So I recommend that. Now, you see the 4% on my resume here, and they go, yeah. It's like, okay, great. So if I'm representing both you and the buyer, my commission is 2.5% on the listing side. On the buy side, my commission is 1.5%. So I knock 1% off of the buy side commission. So now that is going to net you the 4%. But I don't know if you noticed it, but you see the 2% at the very top? What that is, if you, let's say you are out here actively trying to get your property sold, you're calling, people that you used to work with at your last job, you're talking to people at your Christmas party, family members and whatnot about your house that's for sale. You're in church and you're talking to people, does anybody want to buy your house? You've got this great house for sale over in such and such neighborhood. It's 5 minutes from the church. Does anybody want to buy this house? If you, Mr. Seller, bring me a buyer outside of my listing, like they don't have an agent, they didn't, see it on Zillow and then call an agent and, whatever. If you bring me a buyer outside of my marketing, then I will be your transaction coordinator for 2%. right? I'll take care of the paperwork. I'll take care of the inspections. I'll take care of meeting the appraiser out there. I'll take care of all of the legwork with the lenders. I'll take care of all of those things for 2% and be sure that we get from contract to close seamlessly. Because ultimately, that a lot of times is the hardest part of getting a house sold. It's not finding a buyer. Finding a buyer is easy. But getting from contract all the way to the closing table, that's where skill comes into play. And so, 2%, I'll be your transaction coordinator and we'll get the deal done. All of this can go on your resume just like it goes on mine. You don't have to have 50 sales to be able to put this stuff on your resume. Mission statement is my last page. It's my mission to provide an experience that's so positive that you'll feel the trust, comfort, and confidence in securing a real estate agent for life. I believe this is a profession in need of true professionals, right? All of this. This is a pretty generic thing, but I believe in it, right? I can pretty much quote it on demand if need be. That also can go on your resume just like it went on my resume. Let's go in here. Stop that. So guys, all of this is my resume that I send to people. And this is what separates me. Many times when I get in a listing appointment, they're like, yeah, let's go ahead and sign up. And I'll sit down and we'll go through the paperwork, right? We'll come up with what our sales price is going to be. What I like to end with in that meeting with is, hey, let me ask you something. What caused you? I'm always looking to improve what I'm doing. What caused you to choose me as your real estate agent over somebody else? And quite frequently, they'll say, well, you picked up the phone and called me. You cold called me rather than sent me an email or a cold text. A lot of agents are sending emails and text messages cold, hoping to get somebody that reaches back out to them and says, yes, I'd like to have a conversation with you. But you took the time to call me. And so we really appreciated that. And then you sent me that email with your resume in it. That was very helpful. If they're a longer conversion, then sometimes my weekly market update that I send out becomes one of the things that they say was a deciding factor, because I reached back out to them every single week, sent them a market update. They poured through it. They looked at what was coming on the market, what was going off the market, what the sales prices were, all of those different things. And they were really impressed with the dedication that went into that. Now, I know doing my weekly market update takes me 20 minutes a week. I'm going to do another video on that at some point so that you guys can see what my weekly market update looks like. It's pretty simple, right? But it's powerful in that it's sending the message that you're a professional. And that's what we want to do. We want to send that message that we are a professional. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you, as the brand new agent or the agent that doesn't have any experience, the agent with 0 sales, I hope you got something from this that you can take, create your resume. Create that resume and start standing out from every other agent out there, and then build on your progress as you're going. Take those numbers and start plugging them back into your resume and use those to maximize your ability to convert people. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to have some more coming. I've already got one that I'm going to link right here for the for sale by owner conversation. Click on this link and enjoy that one. And remember, it's not a script. It's a conversation. If you call somebody with a script that you're reading off of, you're going to sound like you're reading off of a script and you're going to get shut down. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you on the next one.
Isaiah 41 verse 10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am the Lord your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous hand." When we believe that God is with us, we can have confidence that no matter what we might face, no matter what challenges or difficulties or opposition or enemies or battles that we face, that when we know that God is with us in those things, it can give us the confidence, it gives us the assurance that come hell or high water, that my God is with me, my God goes before me, He's parting the sea so I can walk through on dry ground. He's making a way where there appears to be no way. He's working behind the scenes, and if we would just have faith and keep moving forward, if we would just have trust in Him and keep putting one foot in front of the next, that we would discover that at the end of that road, that we would look back and see God moved powerfully and mightily on our behalf. Keep walking in faith and do not fear, for He is with you.